Let's talk next to the former Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, who gave me her reaction to today's deal.
Well, I think that any agreement that does something to stop the boats and combat illegal migration must be welcome. But my honest fear is that this, in reality, won't achieve any marked or tangible improvement in the problem. Fundamentally, we need a strong deterrent to smash the model of the business model of the people smuggling gangs, so that they don't, engage in this enterprise in the first place. Trying to catch up with more investigations after the event is somewhat of a misguided approach.
So do you think, absent a Rwanda-style deterrent, what they're doing is likely to be useless?
Basically, yes, I'm afraid. At the end of the day, there's nothing, ostensibly new in this document and this conference. It's more moving the deck chairs, it's more window dressing, and it's more lip service. It doesn't fundamentally address the crux of the issue, which is the global migration crisis and people heading across southern Europe into Western Europe, into the UK in their droves, using very sophisticated, highly networked, pan-national smuggling gangs. So this is really complex, and a very technical agreement such as the one we're looking at today doesn't really come anywhere near to what's required to solve the problem.
I suppose no country anywhere has contributed so much recently to those big migration moves than Syria. And I just wonder about your view. Clearly, people who are fleeing from Syria now and arrive at the Channel may be the bad guys, and maybe they should be sent somewhere else. But what do you think should be done right now of the issue of the people who have migrated here from Syria during the Assad regime?
Well, I think, just to go back one little moment, I think that if you look at other European countries and how they've each tried to grapple with this problem following the 2015 Merkel decision to welcome millions of migrants from Syria, actually, Greece stands out as a country that has probably had the most success in reducing the influx of illegal migrants and refugees by erecting a very robust land border between Turkey and Greece. It was very controversial at the time, but they effectively constructed a heavily militarized border with drones, with armored vehicles, with the army, with lots and lots of deterrents. And they actually, in a series of years, made the number fall dramatically from over 1 million to under 100,000 last year. I actually visited that border last year as Home Secretary. So in terms of trying to reinforce borders, Greece is probably the country where they've achieved the most success.
And is that what you would like to see for us on the English South Coast, a militarised border with drones and the rest of it?
Well, I think that we do need a more robust border, and using the Navy, using much more resource on the water would be part of the deterrent effect. Fundamentally, however, we do need people who are coming into the UK illegally on the boats to understand that they won't have the right to stay in the UK, and that requires a system that delivers a very quick processing of their claim and a removal from the territory. And that's where the Rwanda plan provides a lot of value.
Migration under the Conservatives, both legal and illegal, rocketed, and we can see the results of that by the number of people voting for reform these days. Today, we've got another former Conservative donor, Mr. Candy, offering massive amounts of money to reform and predicting that Nigel Farage will become Prime Minister. What, in your view, is the nature of the threat of reform to your party?
Well, I think I've been very open about this for several months, if not years. We failed to control our borders. We, delivered a Brexit-style points-based system, but we thereafter failed to use our levers to lower the overall numbers of legal migration, as we promised in our 2019 manifesto. So we let people down. The British people saw that, and they were rightly angry, and that's why they didn't vote for us earlier this year.
And you've paid the price for that. You paid part of the price for that. You may pay more of the price for that in the future. I have heard you say that you yourself are definitely not going to move to reform. I sometimes struggle to ask myself, why not? Why wouldn't you go?
Oh gosh, I'm not defecting to reform. I've just been elected as a Conservative Member of Parliament by the good people of Fareham and Waterlooville. That's a great honour, and I have no intention of defecting. I'm here as a Conservative Member of Parliament. I'm going to fight for what I believe in.
I absolutely hear that. I hear the statement. What I don't hear is the explanation of why not. What is it about reform that would stop you joining them?
Listen, I am a Conservative Member of Parliament, and I want my party to succeed. I've been very open about our failures. I've apologised for those failures. We now need to rebuild trust with the British people by being honest and by demonstrating that we're taking their concerns seriously. I believe my party is the right party to do that.
So what is it you personally don't like about reform?
Well, that's just like asking me what personally don't I like about the Labour Party or the Lib Dems.
Well, I can ask you that, but I'm just asking you about reform. I'm asking you about reform,
I've been a Conservative Party member, I think, since I'm going to let you into a little secret here, Andrew, since I was about 14. Does that make me cool or does it make me uncool? I think it's probably the latter, isn't it?
I think the latter, but you're elegantly avoiding my question about what turns you off about reform. You're a very experienced politician. You know there is a rhythm to these things. You know there is a dynamic. And you know very well that things are moving in reform's direction. More and more people are either joining them or giving them money. They're doing better and better in the polls. And I'm asking you, as a leading member of the right of the Conservative Party, what turns you off? What would stop you making that jump?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Listen, there are lots of things that I agree with when it comes to reform. I've spoken a lot about them. And at the end of the day, there isn't enough space in British politics for two Conservative parties. I support leaving the European Convention on Human Rights. I support lowering overall migration. I support lower taxes. I support, a more sensible approach to net zero. I support more efficiency within our government systems and our public services. I think that those are very clear views that I've expressed in recent months and years, and I very much want our Conservative Party to be expressing those views.
You have told me all the things where you agree with reform, and you've told me about your own views. I understand all of that. You still haven't given me one example of what would stop you joining reform. What's wrong with reform?
Because I'm a Conservative. I mean, I'm a Conservative through and through. As I said, it's in my blood.
It makes it sound like supporting a football team. It makes it sound like I can't go down to Arsenal because I'm a Tottenham fan. It makes it sound like that.
Listen, I've been elected. There is that. I've been elected as a Conservative Member of Parliament, and that is my duty to the people of Fareham and Waterlooville. And I stand as a Conservative because I believe in the value and the virtue of the Conservative Party. We're the oldest political party in British history. We're the most successful political party in British history. The party has suffered many defeats in its history, and it's come back. I stand as a Conservative, and as long as the people of Fareham and Waterlooville will have me, I will continue to serve as a Conservative.
So that is a strategic answer, but it can be absolutely clear for Suella Braverman: no, not reform, not now, not ever.
I'm not defecting to reform. I don't know how many times I can say. Can I also tell you another thing, which may well be breaking news? Yes, I have friends and family who support other parties. I have friends who support the Labour Party. I even have friends, Andrew, who are card-carrying members of the Liberal Democrats.
Well, that is genuine.
I know that might be a bit of a shock for you. You might want to sit down on hearing that, but that is true.
That is a genuinely shocking note to end the interview on. I'm still confused as to why you will never join reform, but for now, Suella Braverman, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Andrew.
Although I was sitting down already.